experience of the kind of resurrection of hope. Well, in 1980, the idea was started of the Western Canada concept as a political party in each province. And I started the Western Canada concept in British Columbia, where it's still a provincial party. Then I started the Western Canada concept with 52 meetings in 51 days, going from Grand Prairie to Medicine Hat. And we organized all the constituencies along the way, and we established a political party that got 12,000 votes in its first election with absolutely no money except from its own members. No major corporate donors, nothing but the people. And that's what I believe is the only hope. The people is the hope. I should say the people are the hope, because there's always more than one. But it starts with one. It starts with me. It starts with you. It starts with the question, what am I going to do? Well, Western Canadians, particularly Albertans, created a provincial party, elected an MLA, who promptly said two of the most ridiculous things I ever heard. A, I'm not sure I'm a separatist anymore, because the media was after him every day to answer that question. And B, I think I'll move to High River from Olds, where I got elected. Now, you can imagine what the people of Olds thought about that. So it was a short-lived enterprise, and I was told that I come from British Columbia and you should not be the leader of the Western Canada concept of Alberta, notwithstanding the fact that thank you very much for building the party. So over the mountains I went, and I was very bitterly hurt by all that. It took me 4 or 5 years to get over it, but I kept going in my own little way, and Kelty began publishing the Western Separatist papers, and we kept going and we kept going. Well, of course, I helped to found the Saskatchewan Western Canada concept, which they were wonderful people. There wasn't as much infighting in Saskatchewan as there was in Alberta, but primarily because they couldn't smell power. And on the other hand, they're quite a bit more humble about things in Saskatchewan, or they were. So, and the likewise situation in Manitoba. And one of the early founders of our party in Manitoba was a guy called Fred Cameron, who's 89 years old now. And I was speaking in Leduc last night. I came down from my room to pay my bill, and a young man said, "How did you like the room?" And I said, "I thought it was very good. It was clean. It was very spacious. There was a good desk, good light." He said, "Oh, I want to tell you that I'm Fred Cameron's son." Oh. And I thought, gee, Fred Cameron's son looks as old as you. I must be getting old too. The fact of the matter is, we have created a network of the finest people in Western Canada who are friends and believers in the cause of independence, and I'm proud of the fact that 30 years later, the truth is still the truth, it's going strong, and believe me, it's growing every day. You see, what they had to do in Western Canada was go through the process of trial by elimination. Well, what did they do? They said, well, the West wants in, let's give it a try. We'll go to Ottawa, we'll get a better deal. We'll try to make the voice of the West heard, and they'll listen to us, and well, if they don't, well, we'll just crawl away and die, I guess. But that's what happened. They got in. They got to be the official opposition, and there was a great hue and cry from the establishment of Central Canada. The Liberals and Conservatives both, to themselves, screamed, the Westerners are coming, the Westerners are coming, like Paul Revere is screaming, the British are coming. Anyway, the fact of the matter was, they lost their way. They went to Ontario. They tried to penetrate that great big pompous barrel of self-satisfied corruption seekers that they call the establishment in Canada, this cesspool of organized crime, the Pacific scandal notwithstanding, or being the first. And of course, what they didn't understand was that the enemy knows all the dirty tricks in the book. And when Kim Campbell was the potential candidate, you knew the Conservatives were going to be wiped out, and nobody out west liked the Liberals. They didn't like them in Ottawa or in Ontario either. You know what they did? They set up a bunch of skinheads called the Heritage Front, organized by Grant Bristow, who was a paid government agent reporting to his handler in CSIS. And he organized a voluntary bodyguard for Preston Manning. And then just before the election, guess what? The media noticed that his bodyguards are a bunch of racist skinheads. And of course you know what that would do to the multicultural voters of Ontario, particularly Toronto. And of course Preston never either caught on or wanted to talk about it, but they managed to destroy his movement when it was very close to the brink. Well, frankly, what would have happened would have been what happened to Mr. Harper. And Mr. Harper has become what he always was. He claimed to be a Calgarian, but ultimately what he was a Torontonian who passed through Calgary on the way to Ottawa.
Yeah.
He has become basically an Ottawa voice for centralized power. But to explain how the separatist movement went, it went from the Western Canada concept to the Reform Party. Then it went from the Reform Party to the Alliance. And it went from the Alliance to the Conservative Party, and now you'll find the Conservative caucus is in Quebec. You'll find that the majority of federal spending for Bombardier and others will be in Quebec, as it always was. And if Mr. Harper wants to be Prime Minister, which he definitely does, guess where he's going to go to get the votes? He will go to Ontario on his knees, and he maybe will get elected. Maybe he'll get a majority. Hi, thanks for coming. I know we got the hotel mixed up a few times. But this is the right place. You're in the right place now. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. So, what you can see in that is a progression in a big circle. You have the Western protest movement. It gradually becomes co-opted. It ends up in the Reform Party, the Alliance, the Conservative Party, and now we're back to square one. The great thing about Canadians is you can tell them the same lies every 20 years because nobody remembers the last time you told them. And that's how it's worked. Now, you have to understand that politically this is not new. Every Western protest party arose in Western Canada. And every Western protest party died on the way to Ottawa. You look at the history of the CCF, the Canadian Commonwealth Federation. It was formed here in Calgary, and then went to Saskatchewan, became the NDP, which is now, its leader is Mr. Layton from Toronto. You look at the progressive movement. They started among the farmers of Western Canada, particularly Alberta, became what? The Progressive Conservatives, which later became the Conservative Party. You look at the Reform Party, which became the Alliance Party, which became the Conservative Party. So what Western Canadians have been done, what has been done to Western Canadians is they spin them around in a circle, like you're blindfolded, and then say, which way is Mecca? And they always point you to Ottawa. Thanks for coming. Hey, great to see you. Thanks for coming. Don't feel sorry about being late, because we haven't said a word yet. Isn't that right? Nobody said a word. You didn't miss a thing. So, we've covered the whole history of Western Canada, but hey, forget it.